Party.
It is a party. Sorry, I'm late.
No, you're perfect. It's perfect. Easy show. Jessica, you were. I mean, I'm trying to think. I mean, I haven't been to the game. Besides this year, I hadn't been to the games in 5 years. But I remember being in Madison, in the Coliseum. I remember doing some filming with you, and I remember at the time you had some title. You were not only a CrossFit Games competitor, but you were like the fittest nurse on the planet or something. You'd also won the, I was going to say adaptive division, although it could be that if you're a nurse. You were occupational. You had won the occupational games in your category.
I was fittest nurse on earth. I think twice. I don't. Maybe I was the occupational winner. If I was, I wasn't even aware of that. So maybe I have more titles than I realized.
That's what I meant by fittest nurse. I mean it's part of the occupational games. It's just that whole category.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were the fittest nurse. And what 2 years was that?
So probably 17 and 18, I would think.
Okay.
And then I not a nurse, so.
And you're a mom now, also.
Yeah, and one here and one.
Oh.
And how far along are you?
I'm, gosh, I should know this, right? 15 weeks.
Crazy. Oh, congrats.
Thanks. Nice. Am I echoing for you guys?
You are. Do you have YouTube open?
Maybe. I had little baby bum on for the 9-month-old. Okay, is that better?
Yeah, it's good. Okay. Hey, that's five parents. One show, 5 parents.
Let's go.
All of us are parents.
Some better than others.
By the way, Jessica, if Pedro talks, Pedro's the guy in the yellow shirt down there. If he talks and you don't understand him, feel free to stop. There is a cultural. He lives in a foreign country, and there could be a cultural gap. And this, it's totally fair to be like, "What did he say?" And one of us will translate for you.
Deal. Okay.
Okay. So you were a CrossFit Games athlete, and to be fair, although you were one of the fittest human beings walking on the planet, I do remember you being there. I'm digging into my memory, but I remember you being there and being like, "Holy shit, this is nuts. This is on another level. Like, holy crap."
Yeah, I mean, so I competed individually twice, and I was always in the bottom of the pack. Like, so for me to look at the top 10 athletes, I understood that they were like a whole different animal. And I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to be a top 10 athlete. I respect it. You know, I'm like, those girls, like, I'm good. Those girls are amazing.
Pedro, this is unfair to ask you this, but I'm going to ask you anyway. How many tiers do you think there are? Let's say, could you bring up the leaderboard for the women just so we don't, and we'll take a stab at this. How many tiers, Pedro, do you think there are? How would you categorize at the games? I'm not talking about in the totality, but how many tiers would you think there are in terms of athletes? Like, obviously it's not empirical, but just how you might think of it.
Well, I think there's a tier that can win the games.
Okay, so like they're kind of on their own.
Yeah, then there's a tier that can podium, but not win.
Okay.
Like they might finish third to say 6th or whatever. Then there's like top 10. Then there's the bubble outside the top 10, so like to 14, 15. Probably like 8 tiers. I'd say
8 tiers in the 40 athletes. Okay, and I'm with you. It does get pretty crazy. Now, Jessica, I want to ask you this: whether there's 3 tiers or 5 tiers or 8 tiers in that 40, do you think that it ever matures to a point where there would be 1 tier or 2? What's the highest it could mature to, the sport?
So I was going to say, it's getting to the point where you had some really amazing athletes in those bottom heats, you know, this year, last year. So it's definitely getting there. But when I competed in 17 and 21, you know, so, but here's the thing. There's also girls that have been in the sport forever. So are they good or are they just fan favorites? Like, we love seeing girls that have been competing a long time, and we don't care what place they get, if they're in first place or 25th place. So is it skill, or is it like your fan favorites that we care to watch, you know?
But I mean, specifically like tiers, like I agree with Pedro. Tia's in her own tier.
Yes.
Fraser's in his own tier.
Yes.
Like they're literally in their own fucking tier.
Yeah, there's definitely tiers, but so I think and I do think there's something to be said about experience in the sport. So like, as long as there's new athletes coming in, no, there will never be one tier. You will always have multiple tiers, and it's very obvious. Like the girls that are in the first heat don't even touch the girls in the final heat. Like there is such a difference.
And that's going to be the nature of the sport forever, you think?
Yeah.
Just like in the NFL, it's been around fucking for a long time, but there are like two quarterbacks who are like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
The question I have is, do you know which tier you're in?
I was on the bottom tier. I was not. I am totally willing to admit that. No, I looked at the top 10 girls, and I was like, it was unbelievable how amazing they were. And I knew how hard I was working. I knew the sacrifice I was making, and you know, so maybe that was just natural ability. I'm not like a very talented athlete, but I'm a hard worker. So maybe these girls just have the natural talent plus the work ethic, and that's what makes them a top 10 athlete.
That being said, I want to reiterate, you have this net, and I would put it up against any sport in the world, any competition in the world. This net is a massive net. So don't think for by any means, it doesn't mean it's not competitive to be in that top 40. Tens of thousands of hundreds, billions of people have the opportunity. Everyone can enter. Everyone can scrape together that.
But even if you go back
bucks.
a step from the games and go to semifinals, like there's loads of athletes that don't even make it into the tier to get, you know, like they're, and like it's a hard sport as well, where you have, because you're competing on your own, you have this like year-long stretch where you're like, man, I'm doing really good, like, you know, this is it, like this, and then you have people around you who you're way fitter than, especially if you're training an affiliate or whatever. Like I know I've seen people who are a good, like, say, national level here, but miles off semifinals, and I'm still like, fuck, they're so fit and so strong. And like there's just so many levels to it that it's just nuts. Like it's crazy.
That's why I'd always go to a training camp, and I worked out with Brooke Wells a lot. I went to, you know, Ben Bergeron to train with Katrin and Camille, and it's like I surrounded myself with girls who kicked my butt, and I left totally embarrassed, but I didn't care, because I was like, I don't want to be the best one in the room. If I'm going to go to the games, I need to know what to expect. So if you're on that track, go find someone who's way better than you.
Oh, that's great advice. Hey, that's great advice, especially in this time when all the pundits are deciding whether you should go to training camps or not go to training camps. That I like to hear that. Which brings me to this. You coached. Can you tell me about your relationship with Ty Jenkins, and how you met him, how you got into coaching? How did you get into coaching?
Oh my gosh. So in 21, I didn't have
Ty Jenkins, by the way, sorry, real quick. Ty Jenkins won the CrossFit Games this year, 16 to 17-year-old young man. He will be featured in the behind the scenes. I got a lot of good interviews with him, and what a gentleman. And I was pleasantly surprised as I was interviewing him to realize that my old friend Jessica was there as his coach.
Yeah. So
okay, sorry.
No, you're good. So he's actually 3-time teen champ, won the 14-15. And then when he was 16, he won the 16-17, and then won it again this year as a 17-year-old. So I met Ty in 21, and I was training by myself for the games. There weren't any other games athletes in my gym. So he was looking for people to train with. We live about, at the time we lived about 25 minutes from each other. So he would come up and train with me, and I love teaching. So anybody that's willing to learn and is eager to learn, which he so is, he just kind of came in under my wing. And my favorite story about him is our first training session. He comes up to me afterwards, and, you know, he's only 15 at the time, and I'm 29. He's like, should I call you Miss Griffiths? And I was like, no.
That's
Please
great.
don't.
That's a great question, though. I like it. I like it. I like it.
And that's just, he's so polite. He's so kind. He's just like, comes from a wonderful family in Sevan. You got to see that, which
Yeah.
I'm so glad. But so he just kind of stumbled into the gym and I took him in under my wing and we just trained side by side and he just gave me kind of a warm body that was good enough to push me. And so I stopped competing in 21. I retired. He kept going. And so we've been talking through the years, kept in touch. And I just give him, like, I'm his coach, but it's more, I don't write him programming. I'm more teaching him because he's still learning and he's like learning at an exponential rate. So I'm teaching him stuff about transition, stuff about efficient movement patterns. Like, one of the workouts at the games, he had pull-ups. And so I'm teaching him how to cycle pull-ups faster than what you already are, like how to turn 5 seconds into 3 seconds in a workout. So all of those, like, I did it for 8 years. And so kind of teaching him all those tips and tricks to, make him the best athlete that he can be and kind of guide him along, like, decisions on what training program to do and what sponsor to take and kind of the athlete behind the scenes stuff, giving them, my insight and wisdom on that.
Well, okay. So, so what are you to him? You're not doing his programming. You're no longer his training partner.
Mm-hmm.
You're not his agent. You're not his mom. You're not Miss Griffith.
One of the athletes asked if I was his mom. One of the
Oh, man.
like,
Dang.
that old.
Jeez.
Like, at least a hot mom.
Hey, but listen. In all fairness, you do not look old at all, and you're extremely beautiful. But you were carrying yourself back there like you were his mom. Like it was clear that he was under your tutelage. I mean, you had that loving demeanor around him. You know what I mean? So in all fairness, but it's definitely not the way you look. What? So let me maybe I won't ask you that. Let me go get a little more granular. What program is he doing?
So we are still kind of deciding.
Okay. What was he doing?
He did HWPO leading up to the games. He's done HWPO. He's kind of been hopping around. So
He's okay. So he's in the market for that. I get that. And then do you have any other athletes you're coaching?
No.
You and you've been doing this role since 2021 with him, and now it's 2023. That's 2 years. How have you developed? Do you feel more? Are you starting to feel pressure to be doing more research? Make sure you're listening to Dave's weekend reviews. Seeing what's on main site. Reading up on different types of training techniques. Are you feeling this pressure? Like, oh shit, I need to maybe up my game. This kid's gonna need. This is a full on rocket ship. I need to build a bigger base for him to launch out of, maybe.
So, you don't know what's to come in the future. I do think and know that he's going to have a bright future in the sport so long as he stays healthy. So I feel like my game plan is I want to give him everything I have to offer. And once I feel like I've given him everything that I can, I would, love to hand him off to somebody that can offer him more. And maybe we won't get to that point, but I'm totally open to, like, if I don't feel like I'm giving you everything that you need to go be the best athlete that you can be, I'm, would be willing to, I would hope at that point we've made relationships with other coaches and, he can go be with one of the best coaches in the world. Am I the best coach in the world? I just started doing this. I don't think so, so I do want to make sure that I'm setting him up for success. And right now I do feel like I'm one of the best resources he has access to. And I love coaching him. He's like so fun to coach. So getting, the pressure, I'll be honest. I told him, I said, don't follow the media outlets. Don't follow all that malarkey because it's just going to get in your head. I never followed them as an athlete. Keep your head down. Like Matt Fraser hung out in his basement, didn't talk to anybody and just grinded for years. That's how Ty, his mind operates. He's a hard worker. And that's kind of my approach with him right now is like, dude, like your strengths are still mega holes in the men's division, the RX men's division. So, like, you don't need personalized programming. Every area of you needs to get better. So put your head down, work like I know you know how to, freaking grind this year and see what we can get out of it.
There's this I wish I could remember the lady's name, but there was this lady, God, she had a son, and her son was in Boy Scouts, and the local Girl Scout, she was just a stay-at-home mom. She had the greatest job in the world, most important job in the world, stay-at-home mom. Yeah, so easy. And the local Girl Scout troop asked her, "Hey, will you be the head of our Girl Scout troop?" And she said, "I don't even have girls, and I don't know how to do the head of a Girl Scout troop." And they go, "Hey, it's just for like a couple months until we find someone new." So she takes that. Then she does a great job at it, and they say, "Will you be the head of the local Girl Scout chapter?" She says yes. She doesn't want to do it. Then will you be the regional director of the Girl Scouts? She says yes, but she doesn't want to do it. Mind you, she only has boys. She's just a mom. Next thing you know, she is asked to be in charge of the Girl Scouts in her region of the Western states or whatever, then the United States. Then she ends up becoming the CEO of Girl Scouts of America. And then she gets poached to be the CEO of General Motors. There is no better education. All the people who are at the best at what they've done are grassroots motherfuckers. There's no Stanford, MBA, Harvard graduate, nothing that's as good as breadth and depth of life experience. It's a complete misunderstanding of how the world works. We are the most advanced human beings in the world. The highest performers are those who can make the most connections and have the greatest awareness of patterns and connections they make. And that is not found through education. That's found through experience. Now, I'm not poo-pooing education, but there's just nothing there in terms of quantifiable measurement for like success, unless it's just pushing papers around. And man, like I'm telling you that because I could tell your care for him was and your awareness and your attention to him was like it was next level. And so it sounds like you're trying to be humble, but like I think he's found his I mean, you could be even just redefining how the whole thing goes. Maybe you're the coach that uses HWPO programming. I mean, you know what I mean? But I think you found your niche. Do you think would you ever take on another athlete if someone came to you?
So I've gotten asked this a lot lately. I love
good. You deserve it. You're an impeccable. Yeah, I respect you so much as a human being. Good.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I do think being an athlete, that does definitely give me a leg up on some other coaches who haven't been to the games, because a lot of it is just psychological, and I understand because I've been through it several times, what that's like. And so so thank you for saying all of that. But I love coaching Ty because he is just so willing to learn. He has no ego. He trusts me. And he's just really fun to coach. So I had somebody approach me, be like, "Hey, would you want to coach her?" And I was like, she's just not the kind of athlete that I want to coach.
Right.
Ty's awesome to coach. So, and it just works. We're close proximity wise, and we've built a really sweet relationship over the last 2 to 3 years. And so I don't know. I don't have any plans to. I really love focusing on Ty. And again, I've got a baby husband and another baby on the way. So my plate is kind of full. So right now, no, I don't have plans to coach anybody else.
All right. Does he make the leap to enough of this nice shit? Does he make the leap to individual next year? Can it be done? Has anyone ever done it before?
No one's done it. So, and for people who don't really understand, so no boy has made the jump from teenager to the open division with all
Hold on, Jessica. Mr. Spin, is that accurate? Can you fact check that? Is that
as far as I know, at least the next year, yes.
Okay. Go on. Go ahead, Jessica. I don't want spreading misinformation on my podcast. Thank you.
Yeah, right, I got you. So
is this in one of those conspiracy theory podcasts?
when boys turn 18, they have to compete with all of the men, and no boy at 18 has made it. At 19, guys have qualified, but not when they were 18. So my goal for Ty is to get him to be the first male athlete to make it from teen to the open division without missing 1 year in between. Can he do it? Yes, I do believe he can. He's got a lot of work to do, don't get me wrong, but he's got the work ethic, he's got the drive, he's got the motivation. He's unbelievable. And yeah, I do think he can do it.
Pedro, for people like us who are taking advantage of athletes to propel our own fame in our podcasts, should we hitch our wagon to Ty Jenkins? Is he the real deal?
Yeah, I heard a lot of people talking about him and was it Caden or something? I think it's another guy. They were the two.
I think there's a few
people.
There's a couple kids. It was confusing.
Very
Caden
popular.
Hogan's one of them.
Hitch. Hold on, let me write this down. Pedro is barely awake, and he says hitch wagons to Cadence. Okay,
But
got
hold
it.
on.
Hitch-
What about Hugo? Hugo was the guy that got second place.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the Caden I was talking about. That guy. Yeah.
That's Caden Hogan. He's from Training Think Tank. He trains, Training
That
Think
dude
Tank.
doesn't even spell his name right. That's not how you spell Caden. Isn't there a Y in there?
I'm 23.
Yeah. There's probably an X somewhere. In
Yeah,
there.
I was going to say it starts with an X. That's the best part. But the X is silent.
Yeah. But he works out at TTT, assuming he's got aspirations to make it to the open division. I
thought
think
you were gonna say he has Asperger's.
I talked to him in Vedic for like 5 minutes, and he's cool, like pretty well put together.
How cool are all those boys? I didn't get a chance to talk to any of the girls, but the boys were so cool. They were so mature. When I was talking to Ty, I would talk to the other boys in the corral. I'm like, I can't even believe these. They're like little men. They're like little warriors already. They talk and shit, and they're like articulate and smart and make eye contact. It was nuts. They're not like the Instagram kids I see with like holes in their face and blue hair and all that weird shit.
There's hope yet.
Yeah.
Also, Caden's tied.
He's what?
The
They
Caden.
tied in points.
They tied in points.
Oh wow.
Great.
Chase Ingram, does he make it? Does Ty Jenkins make it? Is he the first?
I'm not going to say no. It's just he'll have to do some amazing things to be the first one. And if Jessica feels like he's capable of, I won't say he's not.
And that's the thing. I do like. I've had conversations. I'm like, hey, like this has never been done before, so chances of you making it are slim to none. But let's try, right?
What's the plan between now and the open for him, for Ty?
So I told him, please, no double sessions until October 1st. Nice. You need to take the time off. And I think that's something that's super underlooked. And I think it's really cool that you have athletes like Brooke Wells that could not train to their full potential the whole season and then had their best season after they had all of that rest. So like, again, athletes out there watching, rest is so important. So yeah, I'm telling him to stay out of the gym.
That really is incredible, by the way. That's probably under-mentioned. You're right. That was incredible. I mean, she heard her.
Yeah. There's other athletes that have gone in injured and couldn't train to their full potential and had the best performance they've ever had. So take notes, people. Okay. Rest is good for you.
Mr. Spin, I know you're not a Ty Jenkins expert, but broadly, if you don't know, I'd even accept a guess. Where, as a youth, do they need to work the hardest in order to catch up with the men? Is it their mile time? Is it their strength? Is it their gymnastics?
I mean, historically, it's been the top end strength that they need. I mean, Ty put up some pretty big numbers. He hit 580 on the Olympic total. I'm not sure what that split was, but that's up there.
It's like 38th or not 38th. It was bottom of the pack in the open division.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But he still was in there.
It was in there.
As long as he beat someone else besides BKG, that doesn't really count.
Yeah. That's generally where the biggest leap is, I think, overall.
Jessica, do you agree with what Mr. Spin's general assessment is?
I think that's a great place to start. Again, Ty considered running one of his strengths, and we looked at the 5K time, and he said 24th. I thought it was 27th. So even that's got room for improvement, but we are going to have him work with Sonny Webster. He's a former Olympian. So we're really, really excited about that, just to get some technique and get those numbers up. So that's another part of the game plan that we're psyched about.
Yeah, Sonny's been putting out some good content showing guys lifting from the games and giving them critique.
Awesome. Oh wow.
What a
Yeah,
shit hat.
we had Sonny scheduled and he fell through the cracks.
He's awesome. If you can get him on, because he's
he's a gentleman. All right. Hey, thank you. I appreciate you coming on. And I wish you continued success, and I hope we get to have you on again.
Thanks so much. Good to see all you guys.
Yeah.
All right.
I love what you're doing with him. You're doing some great stuff. That's cool. I
Thank
like
you.
your approach a lot.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Ciao.
Bye.
Jessica. Oh, I forgot to ask her how you say her last name. Jessica.